Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Bad for Your Health Entertainment. I'm Tom, and tonight I am joined once again by the lovely Marilyn Knapp, an actress best known for her role in the Jason Pitts Experience Alone. Marilyn, how are you tonight?
Great.
Good to hear. And also joining us once again is Mr. James Pasco, best known for his work on Azrael in the '90s, and is one of the best art restorers in the business today. James, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. And I'll keep working hard to be the best.
We
Since
never
you said
stop
I'm only
working.
one of the best, I want to
You
be
are
the
one of
best.
you want to be the guy. You want to be the
I want to be
best.
the guy, yeah. Who doesn't want to
You're,
be the guy, right?
Everyone wants to be the best of the best of the best.
Absolutely. I'll keep
If you
working
don't
hard till
if you don't try, what's the point?
there is no point for me.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that 100%. Tonight we're talking about the cult classic 1942 Val Lewton produced film Cat People, directed by Jacques Tourneur, starring Simone Simon, Kent Smith, Jane Randolph, and one of my personal favorites, Mr. Tom Conway, in a film by RKO Studios, which was released Christmas time 1942, shot in 1942, and is one of Val Lewton. We've covered Val Lewton's films extensively in the past here on Bad for Your Health. Marilyn was with us when we did The Seventh Victim, which is a very near and dear show to my heart because it is one of my favorite movies, along with being one of my favorite Val Lewton movies. So here we are talking about Cat People. Marilyn, I'm going to start with you. Do you recall your first exposure to Cat People?
Um, Man, I don't know. I was very young. I know that for sure. And so I revisited it so I could, talk about it. And but then the remake too. I was like, wait. So I must have been probably to the 42 version. I must have been probably around 6, I think.
Is it fun to revisit these movies for this little show? Let's be frank. Like we're going back into the lexicon, the pantheons of dark corridors of cinema history that some people just flat out don't want to go down. You know what I mean? When they look for inspiration, they look to stuff that I think is more contemporary, like '70s on. But sometimes you just got
No,
to take that car. You got to keep going south or north, east or west, and just see where the road takes you. And this is where it took me
yeah,
was
I'm
Val
having
Lewton
a
pictures.
blast doing this. I'm absolutely having a blast.
I
I
love, I
enjoyed
love.
this one so much.
Talk to me about it. Compared to Seventh Victim, which you recently watched for that episode. There's a similarity, yet there are differences. What did you think about it?
Um, I think the way it was shot was a lot different than Seventh Victim. I
Yes.
remember I talked about loving the deep shadows in Seventh Victim. There weren't that many like that. There were just a couple, and but the and then the acting too. I mean, the acting in Seventh Victim was very dramatic, and this one, it seemed like just about everybody was more natural and I think more modern to me. I don't know why I feel that way, but it just seemed to be that way.
That's a very interesting assessment. But James, let's go to you on that. Do you remember your first exposure to Val Lewton and this sort of film noir history of Cat People and his work?
Those would be two different questions for me.
Yes.
My first exposure to film noir was when I was about maybe 5 or 6 years old, and I saw it on TV. There was on Saturday afternoons they would show these old black and white movies, and I was fascinated with them. And the first time I saw, a film noir movie, it might have been, one of the Philip Marlowe stories or something. I
Yeah.
don't remember now, but from the first time I saw it, I was absolutely riveted by the power of the light and shadow and the designs on screen that the light and shadow made. And it wasn't for a number of years that I translated that into, oh, I can do that as a comic book artist.
Mm.
When I first started people doing that as a comic book artist, who were also influenced by those movies, that was the light going on over my head. And I thought, okay, now I get it, you know, and I remembered those days from when I was little and what an impact it had on my young eyes. The other question was, when was I first introduced to Cat People? And that was, I actually saw the 1982 version first.
Directed by Paul Schrader. Nothing wrong with that
Directed by Paul
movie, just a
Schrader.
very different film.
Very different film. And subsequent to that, I found out that there was this, 1942 version. So I went back and saw that second. But my first memory of the movie Cat People was of the 80s version.
Was that one of those you saw the remake and then you went to the video store to rent it? Was it like one of those, or just waited for it to be on television?
No, it wasn't. No. That one, I wasn't going to wait. I wanted to see it right away. So I searched around, and there was this really cool independent video store back around Blockbuster days, but it wasn't a Blockbuster. It had kitschy and interesting offbeat kind of stuff, and I knew I'd find it there, and I did.
Don't you love that? That's the thing. If you dig long enough, you will find what you're looking for.
Yes, absolutely.
What was your take on it being a completely different film, though? Because the 82 version, directed by Paul Schrader, starring Natasha Kinski and Malcolm McDowell, is more of an erotic fantasy, neo-noir type, compared to this, which is just sort of a melodrama, film noir-esque movie.
Well, yes and no, I think. I'm not sure I'm even comfortable with calling it an erotic thriller, because I'm not sure what exactly erotic there was about it for the most part.
More thematic.
There was nudity in it.
There was nudity in the movie, yes, but it wasn't like Emmanuel.
No. Yeah. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought that, a lot of the way that they touched on sex in the 82 version was in some ways very similar to the sort of puritanical approach of the 1942 movie. It was kind of like those slasher movies, where as soon as the teenage girl has sex, she gets killed.
Yeah.
It was a little bit like that.
That's a fair assessment. Yeah.
Carolyn is looking at me closely.
She's at her looking at her phone. Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
She's giving you the eye. She's giving you the business.
The evil eye, right? But you know what I mean about the slasher movies?
I know the slasher motif where the second sex is brought in, they're going down, and there's sort of an innocence to that might work for the time being. That way, I don't want to remove her just in case she comes back.
Right.
But
yeah, and in the slasher movies, the virgin is the only one who survives, right?
yes.
So there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of that going on in Cat People.
Yes.
As soon in the 82 version, as soon as
Irina.
Yes, as soon as Irina has sex, she turns into a monster, right?
Yeah.
She turns into the cat. And the only way she can turn back into a human is by killing someone. So,
yes.
And there were elements of that in the 42 version.
There were, but they were just sort of like not glossed over, but very brief. Like, and obviously the curse of the Mamelukes was like the big thing with the legend of the Cat People. But the character that I thought was interesting in this movie was actually Oliver. Because the movie starts off with Irina. They're in Central Park. You're assuming it's Central Park, the zoo. And Irina is drawing all these great pictures, not as good as yours, James, about the Panthers and things like that. And she and Oliver, played by Kent Smith, and he was always a B-hand. I don't know if he was a contract player at RKO, but they have this flirtation, and it's like immediately they love each other, but yet their marriage is essentially intimate. There's no intimacy in it at all, which I was
they live in different rooms. Yeah,
they live in different rooms, and I was just sort of like, whoa, like there was almost like this naive nature to his character that he only addresses later on when he's finally with Alice, because he's a marine engineer and they're working, and there's all that technical mumbo jumbo that no one understood. But his character was interesting to me because there was a naive nature to essentially Irina and Oliver.
There was a naive nature to his character in the 42 version, certainly.
Yes.
Although, as I recall, he sort of fell into that trope of, he would talk about how he would even talk to Alice about how, when Irina was in the room, he couldn't help but look at her and he couldn't help but touch her. And she was a sexual fixation for him. Whereas
Yes.
Alex was, as he described it, a good egg. She was like the nice girl next door.
Yeah.
So there are all these sort of boring old tropes, in this. And in some ways, I found them in both movies, surprisingly.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. Marilyn, what do you think about how the characters are introduced and the take on Oliver and Irina?
That's interesting. Yeah, I wasn't sure. It's like the strange person comes up to you, being a female, and starts talking to you and starts picking up your stuff, and then you just walk with him, and I'm just like, really? Is that what you do? I know it's based on today's standards and stuff, but it was interesting. And what I found interesting also was, James said, was, that he's drawn to her, that he looks into her eyes and all that kind of stuff. And I wondered if that was because she was a cat person. Was that part of her power to draw people in, and especially somebody that she might be attracted to?
And then almost like feel guilt about it and remorse. Right. It's almost like
she did it, and she did it by taking him back to her place, serving him tea, all that. Nobody's ever been in here before, that kind of thing. And I wondered if that was what was going on with her.
That's a very interesting point, because that would add more to her character, because there was like this, she was almost like one that would always peek through the door or look through the curtain. She never would ever fully rip them open and embrace the light or the shadow or whatever. And it's interesting because in the filmography, in the cinematography, her character in the scenes that show light and shadow blends between both of them seamlessly, in my opinion. And it's like, I noticed that because of probably her wardrobe and things like that, but it was like she literally walked between both worlds.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a very good assessment. The Judd character, though, was always that we went over him in The Seventh Victim. He was more slimeball-y in this one.
He was really slimeball-y.
He was a real slimeball in this one, as opposed to The Seventh Victim, where he was more heroic, especially at the end, by reciting the Lord's Prayer. This one, he is just the swine of all swines, played by Tom Conway, an actor I always admired. He was a contract player at RKO, and this was one of his first, not roles, but one of his first prominent roles before taking over the role of the Falcon, made by RKO Studios. Conway's character is just so slimy. He has no qualms.
I mean, he's a psychiatrist, and he's manipulating her because he has an interest in her. And just the way that he's like, what if I kissed you? And I'm interested.
I'm not afraid of you.
And I know. And she walks out of his office, and he's like,
yeah, I know. He just said that.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, he was bad news right from the get-go, wasn't he? You could just tell.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, that was the first when I was younger, that was the first Tom Conway movie I ever saw him in. And I just knew with the pencil-thin mustache, I'm like, this guy's either the heroic hero or the ultimate sleazeball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, he's a sleazeball. And then obviously I became a fan and watched his other movies. I'm like, this guy's good. Like, he's the Falcon. He's this. And I'm like, he's just a real POS in this movie.
Yep.
Yeah. That sums it up.
But his character, though, essentially discovers that she's kind of torn between two worlds, as we were just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess you could. Sorry, I guess you could make the case that he was the one who first figured it out, right?
He was the one that figured it out. He figured out that she's not lying.
Right.
And the use of shadows in that scene was beautiful. The way the light just illuminated on her face, and you could only see his silhouette in the darkness talking with the puff of smoke
Yeah.
in your childhood and things like that. And it's just
Right.
Jacques Tourneur was a director, and I remember he said on the Criterion Collection Blu-ray, no shameless promotion there. He talks about the film and how they shot it for $130,000, and these were just castaway B pictures, to answer the monster movie fad of the of the wartime audience. Everyone wants to see the monsters and things like that, but they wanted to just, Lewton and company did something so against the grain that style eventually became normal as time progresses. You could see the influence of his work, and some of this Cat People movie influenced in so many other pictures. What do you think about that, Marilyn?
I agree. I believe so.
I believe so too. I think these movies are so influential for their time that they stand the test of time. James, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. You don't always have to be the popular movie to be the impactful movie.
Mhm.
Agreed.
Look at a movie like Blade Runner, which didn't do much of a box office when it came out, but oh my God, the influence that movie had on other filmmakers, comic book artists, and writers, just across the creative board. That movie sent just ripples. And this movie maybe not quite at that level, but very impactful, I think, in its own right.
Agreed with that. My good Blade Runner story is that I remember I was a kid when the director's cut of Blade Runner came out. You remember that in the 90s? Like the director's cut, and then ultimately there was like 4 other cuts. But some of the quote unquote money shots of, like, the car going up and things like that.
Mhm.
At a young age, I would watch that and go, hey, that's Spider-Man 2099. That's what, what I mean? That's like, there was so much that movie influenced, just in regards to that futuristic look.
Absolutely.
And I'd always wonder what the world would be like 2019. And then, things happen.
Not so hot.
I'm like, that's a long way away. And now time just went by like that, but the influence of Blade Runner, I could go on and on talking about that movie.
It can't be overstated, really.
Cannot be overstated. It's one of the greatest movies, in my opinion, in the last 50 years. I know it came, 82 that came out. It's just the visual, the story, whatever, maybe whatever it is. But I think just the overall look of that film, they'll be talking about it 100 years from now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the sequel, meh.
Not so much.
Not so much. They got the air pollution right. We'll throw that one out there.
The neon signs.
They got the neon signs and all that. We'll just throw out that, 2049. I saw that in a theater alone. Well, I wasn't alone, but like we were the only 2 people in the theater.
Wow. There's only been like 3 movies in my life where I was alone in the theater, but that wasn't one of them.
2049. There was another one. And it was like a weekend. This wasn't like a Wednesday at like 11:30 or anything like that. Was that shit? There was another movie I saw like on a Friday night, and I was like, ooh, I don't think this is gonna do good. That's basically I was like, I don't think there'll be a sequel to this one. I think it was Alien versus Predator, the second one.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
You saw that movie too?
I love that movie. Yeah.
Alien versus Predator Requiem.
Yeah.
That's all right. I mean, I didn't hate on it, but I was just sort of like,
there's nobody here. Right.
Crickets.
I'm like, we're alone here. I'm like, and this was like 3 days after Christmas or whatever. I don't, but people did flock to the theater to see Cat People, both versions, if I recall. Well, the 82 had a great following. 1942's Catwoman, made on a $130,000 budget, churned out over $4 million in the box office because RKO was in financial disarray because of Citizen Kane. Because there's another movie, James and Marilyn, that we're talking about that was very influential. But Citizen Kane was not popular at its time
Right.
at all.
Yeah.
It almost drove them bankrupt.
No, some of the movies that are the most influential over time don't do very well at the time of their release. Before the show, we were all talking about music, and there was a band that formed in the, I guess, late '60s, early '70s, with Lou Reed and company. Are you familiar with? Marilyn is nodding. Now I'm blanking out. Anyway, sorry. I was up really late last night.
I don't know. The Lou Reed was like a super group.
No. It was a very, very odd. Yeah, it was well, it'll come to me. In any case, the point of the story is that when their first album came out, it sold about 100,000 copies. But it has been said, and I think with some justification, that all 100,000 people who bought it went on to form bands and were highly influenced by it.
Cool.
That's cool.
That's
yeah.
Cool.
So that's the power that something can have, even though it's totally unpopular at the time.
I dig that. I totally dig that. Yeah. But what's interesting is that Cat People has remained popular all these years, 80 plus years for the original and 40 plus years for the remake. I think the original is better than the remake, but again, that's like comparing tomatoes and plums. They're just, they're different movies, but the same spine of the story, essentially.
The band is the Velvet Underground, by the way. I don't know how I forgot that.
Velvet Underground? I've heard of them.
Yeah. Highly influential. But nobody's ever heard of them.
I've heard of the album. Did you have it back in the day?
Oh yeah, I was one of the 100,000.
Still have it, LP? Yeah.
I still have it somewhere. Yeah, I haven't played my vinyl in a while, but I still have it somewhere.
That's something I've been meaning to get into, but I know in this modern era, it's like a very expensive hobby if you really want to get into it, which is the vinyl sort of getting records and things like that. But I dig it, and I just don't think I don't have the patience for it.
Become cool again. Vinyl's become really in again. They're selling vinyl like crazy.
VHS is going to become popular again amongst the collectors. I know that's the.
Ooh. I hope
not too.
But that was like, Betamax and VHS. That's actually how I first saw Cat People, was VHS. The one with her on the cover, like yeah. And the one with Natasha Kinski was God, what the hell? Where it was like half of her face, with the rain and all that, with it coming down off of with the half panther face and the half of. She was a very beautiful woman. Her dad was
cool image, yeah.
Her dad was crazy.
yeah, totally bonkers.
Klaus Kinski's just so out there. God bless him, though.
I'm glad that you mentioned Nastasia Kinski, because she was a very beautiful woman, and I'm sure she still is.
Still is very beautiful woman.
But I think sometimes beautiful people get they're not given their due necessarily, and I think she had a lot to do with whatever success this picture found, the '80s version. I think she was an underrated actress in that movie, and I also think that just her face. You look in those eyes of hers, and you believe she's a cat.
They'll take you.
I believed it.
The eyes are the window of the soul, and both her and Simone Simon had eyes that just riveting. You couldn't help but almost sort of be like Dr. Judd or Malcolm McDowell, just sort of like go with them. Not Dr. Judd to a certain extent, but like that journey, like just captivated them. Hypnotic, yes, thank you. That's the word. And they're both, Natasha Kinski, like you said, was just a beautiful woman, and I think Simone Simon was a very beautiful woman.
Yeah, they definitely both fit the role, and for that matter, I think McDowell, you know, his eyes fit the role too. You know, when they did the close-ups on his face, he
Just
really
that, like,
yeah, he had that cat eye look.
yeah, great
Uh,
actor,
and somehow
great
he was
actor.
able to stare into the camera, and his face and his eyes would be perfectly still, the way a cat looks when it's looking at you,
Yeah,
just
just
about
that,
ready
like,
to scratch you.
Thinking,
just
yeah.
yeah.
Thinking, right?
He's a tremendous actor. He, you know, he can. He's great. Even in the Rob Zombie Halloweens, he's the lone highlight of those movies.
Yes, yes,
Excuse me. But I will say this about Cat People as the original progresses. One of my favorite scenes is, and we can't ignore it because you know the remake ripped it off, not ripped it off, paid homage to it. The swimming pool scene.
Oh yeah.
Less
oh
was
yeah,
less was more with some of these movies. The use of lighting and shadows.
Mhm.
You know, in the remake, in the original, it's Jane Randolph, and in the remake, it's Annette O'Toole,
right,
and it's almost shot for shot, almost like
yeah,
just
yeah,
the instant cutting and the shadows. And in the '40s version, you see like that little animation of the panther kind of in the like mixed in the shadow, and it was just
That was cool.
brilliant. And they invented the quote unquote jump scare in this film with the bus.
yes,
Yeah. I
yeah,
love that part right there. When she's walking down there she keeps looking back, and there's like a passage or a tunnel that she walks through, and
And the
it's so,
sound of her shoes,
and
you
the
know,
clip
creating that
clop,
like
yes,
clip clop, clip, yeah.
yeah,
And then she gets her and there's that panther sound, and the bus drives up, and I'm like, oh.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's the original jump scare. Now
Yeah,
because it's been oversaturated for 80 plus years,
it
jump
was
scares
awesome.
don't do much as they used to, but that was one was very impactful. So
Yeah.
much so that the Luton films would have, they called it the bus scare. Now it's just the jump scare, but they had that in there's one in I Walked with a Zombie, and I think there's one. I don't think there was one in Seventh Victim. Yeah, there was in the uh hospital. The not the hospital. The scene where the guy gets stabbed. The
Oh,
sound
yeah.
and all that kind of. But there was not one with
Right.
like the car coming up like that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was
and
awesome though.
and by the way, let's give kudos to Paul Schrader for knowing a good scene. I'm talking about the swimming pool scene and
Yeah, the
just
swimming pool
keeping it.
scene.
Yeah, he didn't need to reinvent the wheel there. That was good in 42, and it was still good in 82.
And it would still be good in 23. It
Yeah,
would be. It would be good.
absolutely.
If there was another remake of Cat People for the modern audience, even with the cell phones and the technology, which they would probably incorporate into the story, the
Right.
swimming pool scene would still be useful in that narrative.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Although as an animal lover, I have to point out panthers are really good swimmers. So
Yeah,
that
that's
would
what I was thinking too. I
yeah,
was like,
that wouldn't
they
have been
can
too
swim.
effective as a defense. The panther
Well,
would have
then
jumped right in there and end of story.
we can add it. We'll do our version of it, and we'll have the panther, and then it'll just sort of turn into Jaws, not Jaws, but like sort of like this slow help me, and you just see the panther just gliding through the water, which would probably be a very scary image in itself when they go back and do the first person and you see just this panther just with the
Yeah.
water with the eyes still above the water, which would be really creepy.
I mean, she'd have to like dive down below the water.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this. Now dive, it was like
Right.
dive and then swim fast and then get out, and I don't know what she would do then, but yeah, got to get
I
into
had
the water if that jump.
go
I
deep,
tell you.
go deep on that one. I had read though during the post production that Simone Simon thought her acting in the swimming pool scene when she reveals herself, like, what is the matter, Alice? She thought her acting was so hammy and might ruin the movie. But I'm
I
like,
really liked it.
I thought it was very menacing and that sort of like, I
She
can
was,
get you,
yeah,
but
she
I
was,
chose not to.
yeah,
Right.
and she was happy that she scared her like that. I mean, you could
Yeah.
just see it in her face. I thought
Yeah.
that was great.
I agree.
Yeah, and that moment was part of the metamorphosis for the character. Nastasia Kinski did a similar thing, where when she showed up, she had this very cat-like, almost a smirk on her face.
Yeah, she had a
Yeah.
little smirk on her face in the
Yeah.
remake. That was
Very
just
cat-like, and
and
it
very
was like,
menacing.
yeah, it's like, okay, I'm starting to understand who I am, and part of me kind of likes it.
They sort of embrace that dark side. You know, we have had cats in our lives. You know, something like they look at you like that. You just look at them and go, "What?" And like they just continue to look at you, and it's like,
Right.
what can I do for you? And they just look at you.
They're
Yeah.
thinking.
They're thinking. It's just I don't know what you're thinking. I know you're not going to kill me, but you're scaring me.
Right.
When a cat's thinking, beware. That's right.
It's the truth. You know, with at the ending of Cat People, though, when you know Judd plays his little game of you know, that was right, Marilyn. Well, that was
Yeah.
just freaking. It was so slimy. But
I was glad he died.
Yeah, he was the
I
one
will.
character in the movie where you were like, yeah, get him, cat, get him.
Right.
But the one thing I said when I watched it on vacation, when I was like, Judd did not go down without a fight.
That's true.
You just see those brief scenes of him with the hair messed up with the cane, just sort of.
So,
Yeah.
so in the cane, he had a sword, right?
Right.
Yes, and I think he pulled it.
Because that was part of the dream that she had too, which I
Yeah.
felt was really interesting. That there he is with the sword, and he's like, yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's how maybe she knew he had that because of her dream. I don't know, but she did take
I don't
him
know,
out,
but
broke the sword, and that was cool. Yeah.
because you see her holding the wound for the rest of the rest of the
Yes.
movie. It wasn't like he just
Right.
whacked the crap out of her. He got her
No,
good.
He got
no,
it,
it broke
but
off
it broke
halfway
off.
inside of her. And in
Yes.
that final scene,
Yeah.
you could see it sticking out of her, you know, her
Yeah.
dead body.
Yeah.
That was and then the other thing too was her fascinated with that other panther, you know, and like when she steals the key and all that, when she goes to the at the end when she's stabbed by Judd and she's dying essentially, she's like essentially accepting her fate. She stands there and just has this panther jump on her shoulder and she falls over.
Right.
Yeah.
But the lighting and the shadows were perfect in that scene with the smoke, you know, the classic 40s smoke coming up from the from an unknown source, but it was just great acting, great performances by everything. Where do you think of the acting in the movies, Marilyn? You're an actress and you're a damn good one, and you creep the hell out of me in Alone. I'm just glad you don't scare me anymore. That's the truth. James, if you've never seen Alone, I would highly recommend it because she is very menacing in that movie. I would highly recommend it. It's on Tubi. Yeah, no, if I saw you in a convenience, say that again.
Tubi is probably the easiest way to find it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tubi.
Mhm.
If I saw you in a convenience store when I first saw that, I'm gonna risk running out of gas on the interstate just to. No, you were as I've said, you were tremendous in that movie. You made that movie for me, like that. Like as an actress, though, when you watch these movies from different eras, do you find yourself assessing the performances in a way? Do you know what I mean? Like how would you work it in? Is there anything that maybe I could have done this differently, or are you just along for the ride?
Normally, when I first watch a movie, I'm just along for the ride. I just want to see how I feel, and then just go with it. And if it's really good, I'll probably yell at the movie. You know, yell, don't like jump in the pool, or something like that. I'll do that. If I really like it, I'll go back and watch it, 100 times. And that's when I start thinking about, yeah, that didn't work. Or I would have said it this way, or, but I know that the director's there, the director's giving direction. And so the actors just, they bring their own stuff, but they have to follow the direction too. In cases like the Seventh Victim and this, I just think about it, for that time, this is how people acted, especially the Seventh Victim. I don't know what you thought about that, my comparison with this movie, but I felt like they were a lot more dramatic. There was this element of, oh, you said this and I'm feeling bad. And
There was a rigidness to Seventh Victim where they were almost,
yes,
it could have been a
there were
play
like,
almost.
yeah, that's how I felt. And then
Yes.
that's why I said in this one, they seem more natural. There were times when there was like, oh, I'm going to get you, or, that kind of thing. But nonetheless, I mean, I enjoy both those movies so much. And I just take them for their value, which I thought I feel was really good. So.
What about you, James, when you watch a movie, though? You have, from an artistic standpoint, and almost like a storyboard way, when you're drawing, it's almost like directing and creating the scene yourself, right?
Sure.
When you're watching a movie, do you ever see yourself kind of going, okay, like, I get what they're doing, and then sometimes it could be like a throwaway shot that if you like the cars in Blade Runner, or the establishing shots of the zoo, in this movie at night, do you catch yourself kind of going, man, that'd make one hell of a picture. I see what they're doing. Like, I see what they're doing
Yeah,
instead.
all the time. Yeah,
You're almost like, it's almost like armchair quarterbacking. We're like analyzing every little thing.
Yeah, the design, the composition, the lighting. It's hard to shut that off when I'm watching a movie. And in fact, I wanted to give Paul Schrader another kudo for that. The scenes in the cat world, for lack of a better word, that were all kind of filmed in this orangey tone, and the cats are up in the trees. Those are beautiful.
Those are beautifully shot movies. The scenes that I completely forgot about until I watched it the other night, and I was just like, man, wow, I completely forgot about that aspect of the pseudo flashbacks to this like Mesopotamian civilization. I was just like, man, I completely. You think of the movie, you just think of Natasha Kinski kind of doing her thing. No, there was a lot of great deep shots of the past world in Paul Schrader's version.
There was, and I would expand my kudos of that version to encompass, one of the kind of classic things that so many people still forget to do in comics or movies or any visual medium. One of the oldest things in the book is, they say, show, don't tell, right? Mm-hmm. Well, in that original movie, there was a lot of exposition in the backstory. I mean, the whole, King John and the cat people and all of that was just the actress standing there reciting all this exposition. And it's just it was boring to me. But in the 82 version, he didn't tell us, he showed us. And I really appreciated that.
I like that. That's a very good assessment that I never thought of in regards to the comparison of the two. Less is more, and not just with visuals, but with descriptions.
Yes, absolutely. I believe so.
I got to write that down. I'm going to remember that. Thank you, James.
Show, don't tell.
Show, don't tell. Show, don't tell. Yeah. Because I'll tell it off camera. But I definitely like this the look, the vibe of these movies, that to the point where you don't need a sequel to Cat People.
No.
And we're not gonna go deep into we're just gonna add the mentioning of Curse of the Cat People. Have you guys seen Marilyn, have you ever seen Curse of the Cat People?
Sure, I have. I just can't remember it right now. Yeah.
Well, James, have you seen Curse of the Cat People?
I have not seen Curse of the Cat People. No.
Yeah, well, I'll say this kindly. I don't think it's one that we need to revisit. I'm not saying it's a terrible movie. It's a different trajectory for Alice and Oliver, and it takes place years later. Alice and Oliver have a daughter, and the daughter starts seeing Irina in her dreams, and it's like her make-believe friend, and it's a nice melodrama. The sister from Cat People, that's another scene we got to talk about in the original, and it's in the remake too. That woman, God, she looked exactly like Julie Newmar's Catwoman. she was Mimi the prostitute in The Seventh Victim. There was sort of an in joke that they were the same people, but I think that's total BS.
I didn't realize that. Okay, cool.
So when Ollie and Irina got married, the woman, calls her sister, and she's sort of
Right.
scared a bit, just sort of, and who is that? And they're eating at the Serbian restaurant and all that. You don't see that woman again for the rest of the picture in the 1942 version or the 82. No, she doesn't show up again at all.
She doesn't know in either movie, which I think it was a mistake, but
I agree. But in the 44 in Curse of the Cat People, you see her a lot more. She's like a caretaker for an older woman, and she's the only daughter, and the Ollie and Alice's daughter like run away and they meet, and she's kind of a mean person, and it all works itself out at the end. The entire Cat People thing is like it really couldn't have even been called Curse of the Cat People. It should have had a different title, but they probably thought money was there, and obviously movies such as
right.
Curse of Dracula and House of Frankenstein were selling. Why not call it Curse of the Cat People?
Yeah, Abbott and Costello meet the Cat People. Yeah,
It was like that. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It's just a different trajectory.
yeah. I think you're definitely right though about that scene. And for some inexplicable reason, Schrader decided to do the exact same scene in his movie, and he made the same mistake by never reintroducing the character in any way, which I don't really understand. It's the old playwright. I think Chekhov may have said this, that you don't put a gun on the mantle in the first scene and then not have it come back and shoot somebody later.
Exactly. If it's part of the plot, make it part of the story. Like if it's there, use it.
Right. And they introduced her and they made it seem like a big deal, and then nothing. So I don't get that.
You almost make it seem like her character is like the quote unquote, the veteran, the mentor. She's going to be sort of showing the world, and
right.
No, she had her Serbian cup of tea and her crackers and meal and just got the hell out of town.
Glided out of the room. Yes.
Very beautiful woman. I always forget that actress's name, but she was in the 40 and the 8. They both looked very, very similar. It was just the resemblance was uncanny. Like I said, a little Julie Newmar-esque, like that Catwoman 1966 vibe. Just that, everyone was beautiful in this movie. And granted, there's a lot of beauty in the world, but everyone was just extremely beautiful in these movies.
Yeah.
Everybody looks cool in the black and white movies. That's what I've.
That's why I love black and white. Everyone looks good in black and white.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of myself in black and white, and I'm like, I look good in this picture. I'm gonna post it. And even if it's a simple picture of me closing a truck door, I was like, the leather jacket I had, the lighting, the hair, I was just like, that's people can judge that one for themselves. Would you ever, Marilyn? Would you ever want to be in a black and white movie if someone artistically said to you, "Hey, I got an idea for a black and white movie," or like this old school type movie? Is it something that you would entertain?
Yeah, absolutely, especially if there's a monster involved. No, I would absolutely do that. Why not? It'll be fun.
As long as the story is good, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I almost never want to do anything besides black and white. I know it's not the Schindler List argument where less color, with the red and all that stuff, but it's just I feel like with black and white, you could the world can almost seem more expansive in a weird way. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just like those shadows where people are stepping in the shadow and stepping out of the shadow, even though they're right there. You don't see him, and it just makes it like there's this hole back behind them, and I don't know. Yeah, expansive.
I would love to see black and white make a comeback. I have been not yearning for it because I understand times are, there are obviously more advanced ways of telling a story now, or worse, depending on whatever way you look at it. I'm not snobbish to modern films at all, but it's I would just like to see the cycle come back a little bit and someone kind of do a movie like this where less is more, exactly, and show a different world anew again. Does that make any sense? It just bring the wheel back and tell a simple black and white character-driven story.
Yeah, I've been drawing a lot in black and white lately. well, not just lately, like forever, but particularly lately. Sometimes when I feel like I've gotten a little bit lost with my color, I I go back to basics and just do black and white drawings. Because if it looks good in black and white, then you're 90% of the way there, is my theory anyway. But yeah, I would welcome the black and white resurgence as well, as long as it was done well.
As long as it's done well, because there's
Yeah.
like I said this recently to Chelsea, my fiance. We were going to watch some old movie, and I was not snobbish, but I was like, she was like, "Oh, look at this." Sorry, excuse me, this movie from like 1952 or whatever. I don't remember what movie it was, but I candidly said, "Oh, that's not a good movie." I don't remember what movie it was, but I was just like, Chelsea, just because it's old doesn't mean I'm going to watch it. Doesn't mean I'm going to enjoy it. It's going to have the same meaning on me as, say, Seventh Victim, Day the Earth Stood Still, so many classic,
Right.
films from that era.
Yeah.
I said there are plenty of good movies that in color that have moved me in a way. And there's some movies that you can see in color and in black and white. And I think Cat People is one of those because of the two stories. But like a movie like Avatar, there's no way that could be black and white. Or Top Gun could never be black and white. You need the color and the beauty for those scenes to show their world.
Mm-hmm.
This world was the world of the shadows.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
And
agree with that completely.
I dig it 100%. I'm glad we talked a little Cat People. But James, favorite scene in Cat People?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I'm full of tough questions today. I'm full of great. This is a good one. I love the tough questions. While you think
Yeah.
about it, Marilyn, do you have a favorite scene in Cat People?
Yeah, it's that one where Irina is following Alice, and she goes to that tunnel and all that. But it's what it made me think of was American Werewolf in London.
Great movie.
Looking, and I'm like, just keep going, just keep going. And yeah, that's what I thought of. And that was that moment when the bus shows up, all that. It was so good.
That's
Great
a
scene.
great call. That's a great call, Marilyn. In fact, I'm going to steal it.
Okay.
I think that's probably my favorite one too. I can't think of a better scene than that.
I got to go the bus scene and the pool scene, just because there's that foreboding, that menacing presence that's there.
And I think they may be the two most timeless scenes in both movies.
Agreed. If there's a remake coming someday, who knows? You never know in this modern Hollywood. If there's another Cat People, they'll probably rip off or pay homage to one of those scenes.
Well, I hope so.
And by the way, we cannot end this discussion without talking about David Bowie's soundtrack for the 82 version.
You cannot. The David Bowie soundtrack, yeah. Oh.
That was so intrinsic to the movie, and it tied together so beautifully with the thematic elements of the movie. Just the sounds that he put together, the cadence, the lyrics, they were just perfect.
Bowie was Bowie, man. You cannot be.
Yeah.
That he's a presence that will be sorely missed.
All the time, yes.
All the time. And yet Mick Jagger can still kick it at 80. And I know it's just sort of like,
well, good for him.
Good for him. Bowie was awesome.
Yeah.
I had a teacher who always called me Major Tom in high school and in grade school. And I didn't understand it at first. I remember being like, Mom, Dad, why is he calling me Major Tom? And I kind of had all right. And, my father would bust out his old LPs.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
And that was my introduction to David Bowie, was Mr. O'Malley, God rest his soul.
Well, he taught you one good thing anyway, right?
Hey, there was nothing wrong with David Bowie. I love David Bowie. He was a chameleon. There's no other way you could say it. He was a chameleon.
Yeah. John Lennon was reportedly once said of working with Bowie that it was great to work with David, but you just never knew which David would show up to the studio any day. And I could see that. The Thin White Duke might show up one day. Ziggy Stardust might show up
Ziggy
the
Stardust
next day.
shows up on Tuesday.
Yeah, you just would never know.
Is it? And it is like that. We all there are people out there in this world that have like their lives behind what we see.
Mhm.
And it's, the eyes are the window of the soul. That's sort of the theme of this episode, I would say. Marilyn, have you ever
Yeah.
worked on a set where there was someone, and you don't have to name drop, but was there ever someone that you don't know which version of them you're getting on the next day?
No, I haven't experienced that yet.
Yet.
But it would be very exciting. I would
That's the
love
thing.
that.
They're never boring.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure.
James, you've met people like that in your travels, right? You never knew what.
I've met a few, yeah.
Yeah, they don't make the world boring.
They don't make the world boring, but sometimes they make it a little scary.
Make it a little scary. They want to make you pull your hair out a little bit.
Yeah, well, that was, I kind of mentioned this earlier, but that was sort of a crossover theme between these two versions. Is the guy was attracted to the really weird girl, right? And he didn't want to have anything to do with the nice normal girl. And we saw where that led.
Until in the original, until he realized I'm a better match with Alice.
Right. And that's a very 1942 thing. It didn't go that way necessarily in 1982.
No, it did not. And it sure as hell would not go that way in 2023.
No way in hell it would. No.
In 92, they would have ended up on Maury Povich or Jerry Springer. My girlfriend is a cat.
It was interesting, by the way. I found it interesting anyway that the choice that Irina had to make at the end of the 1982 version, she didn't have to make a choice really in the earlier version because she died.
Yes.
But in the 82 version, she was faced with a choice. At the end, she turned back into the Panther. And as we know, she would have had to kill someone in order to turn back human again. But I think it's reasonable to assume that she made the choice to live out her life in prison as a cat.
Like a yes.
Give up her humanity, give up her life, so that she didn't have to kill again. And so that said something very dramatic about her as a person.
In the beginning of the movie, she was a virgin. She was like that self. Right. She was the shore of the. Right. You knew she was going to make the right decision if she had to make the decision. And like you said, she would rather spend her time in a cage. In a cage, a self hell, if you will, a self-induced hell, or then kill again.
Right. And Oliver in that movie also made a choice. He could have killed the Panther. He could have turned the Panther over to the authorities. The Panther killed one of his best friends, right? That guy that built the house. They were very close, and she murdered him. So there were all kinds of reasons for him to ditch her, but he just couldn't do it. So, he made the choice. She made the choice that she did, and he made the choice to support her by kind of taking care of her, as he suggested earlier in the movie when he said, "All I want to do is take care of you," and he made good on that promise.
He made good on it. He got to take care of her.
Yeah.
Cat people. And it's funny. They thought it was going to be like this monster. They wanted it to be like a Wolfman ripoff, and instead they created something very cerebral, very, very film noirish, and very character driven.
Mm-hmm.
Both pictures.
Yeah.
Both pictures.
Yeah.
Well, you got me thinking, James, about Paul Schrader. I'm taking a sabbatical from doing bad for your health videos, but I was like thinking about this. I'm like, there's a lot of cool Paul Schrader movies out there to be talked about. And
there are, particularly the movies that he wrote.
Oh man, he like even like you saw Dog Eat Dog, like one of the last movies he did with Cage and Defoe. He and Defoe are like just they're like
Oh,
whatever Paul Schrader writes, Willem Dafoe will conceive on a camera.
yeah.
You ever see Autofocus?
I haven't seen that one.
That's the one. You got to see
Yeah.
Autofocus. That is just a very. Have you ever seen it, Marilyn?
No,
It's a story about. It's a Paul Schrader movie from 2000. It was released in 2002. It's the story of Bob Crane and from Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that movie goes down a very, very, very weird, very weird route, and
Talk about creepy guys.
Yeah.
oh, and Willem Dafoe's in it too, and he can play a creep in any. I mean, that's how good any movie.
Mhm.
Dafoe can go from playing, the Green Goblin to I know he seamlessly he could go from Jesus of Nazareth to Light Sleeper.
Yeah.
He's very, very believable in that sense. Yeah.
Love Dafoe.
He's got the crazy eyes, and he just looks like he's ready to bring the machete out at any moment.
Yeah.
And it's his affect. It's like the simplicity in his voice. There's like the level of it, the level that he could conceive in any character.
Right.
But if you Autofocus, it's one of those movies like I almost can never recommend because the whole second act is just really it's perverse. It's perverted.
Yeah.
It shows Bob Crane and this other guy who kind of took him down this dark,
Right.
the dark corridor that ultimately became his life and death. But it's shot in that Paul Schrader. James, you'll know what I'm talking about. Is this a comedy or is this like a really tragic story? And it's almost like they're one and the same.
Yeah.
Because Defoe apparently had said that on set. In the audio commentary, Defoe pulled Paul Schrader aside and he's like, Paul, is this like a comedy about Bob Crane's life?
Yeah. If this is a comedy, I'm not laughing.
Yeah. And the bad part about it is there are some really funny parts in that movie, but they're not in regards to.
Right.
I cannot recommend it. Like I've said, it's one of those movies I just cannot recommend. And I found that movie by accident. I'll tell you that story quickly. It was 2002. It was 2002. What was one of the hottest movies in the world in 2002? Spider-Man, starring Tobey Maguire and Willem Dafoe. So at the video store, I see Willem Dafoe and Greg Kinnear. I was like, oh, okay. Okay.
Not what you were expecting.
No, not what I was expecting one bit. But you know what?
No.
It's a very good movie. It's just I can't recommend it.
No, there are some movies I have seen certainly where I thought they were really good movies, and some that weren't really good movies that I watched, but I felt like I needed to shower my brain out at the end of it, and there's just no way I could recommend them to anyone. Like there was a movie called The Piano, which I thought was a very well done movie, but it was just so.
It was really creepy, weird.
Really.
Piano. Was that from the 90s?
That's with oh my gosh. That's with is it Holly Hunter?
I think it was Holly Hunter, yeah.
And the guy from Pulp Fiction, the guy that comes in and fixes things.
Harvey Keitel.
Harvey Keitel, yeah.
Yeah, I know that
creepy.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that movie now.
A rough movie going experience.
Yeah, it was.
In fact,
It was interesting, but
it was interesting.
rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harvey Keitel gave me a couple of my worst movie going experiences. There was
But
The
he did
Piano,
good,
which was rough, but it was a good movie, I thought.
Yeah.
And then I saw one called Bad Lieutenant with Harvey Keitel.
Me too.
And Nick Cage.
Oh yeah. Well, take your pick of scenes from that one, but
Yeah.
But that was not as good a movie as The Piano, but it was really rough to watch.
Yeah.
I would not.
The
recommend that
Lighthouse.
either.
The Lighthouse was like that for me.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about, Marilyn?
Yeah, I do.
With Defoe, with Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. I was just sort of
They
like,
were great, but it was like, wow.
Yeah, they went there.
they went there. They went there. And then I will never walk out of a theater, but when the scene where he's walking him like a dog, I was like, wow, you really went there
Yep.
and beyond.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like, you think that's something. Wait till you see this.
Yeah, wait till you see the next scene with the camera stationary, and I'm just like, what the? And it was one of those in the theater. I leaned over to Chelsea. I said, and I'm not gonna bleep it. I'm not gonna say it, but I was just like, what the bleep is this?
Yeah.
I'm like, I thought this was gonna be like this like neat little 1930 whatever year it was set, kind of creepy lighthouse movie with some supernatural presence. It turned into this completely different movie. I was like, whoa. And yes, James, you are right. Port of Call. Oh. Like you said, take your pick on any scene with Harvey Keitel in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah. He had a knack for those.
He's good.
He did.
Yeah.
What was that other movie he did years ago? The Duelist, where he was the sword fighter. That's my impression of sword fighting. That was like a horrible, like what am I, Christopher Lambert? Yeah, I know.
Right.
Well, I'm Knight John of the Mamelukes and all that.
Yes,
Cat
yes.
people with the. No, it's Harvey Keitel, and it's like the Duelist or something, the swordsman in there. They stand like half the movie is them kind of fencing and parlaying, and it's like, pew, 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 pew.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, somebody get the upper hand. I'm like, this is just going on. This
really
gone
boring.
on for like, it was boring. It was like watching a 45-minute fencing match on ESPN2.
Ooh, that's rough.
That's rough.
Yeah.
That is really rough.
Bad Lieutenant or fencing on ESPN. Mm.
Take your pick.
That's a tough call.
Things are bad, if you're watching fencing on ESPN.
Yes.
And not for you, for ESPN.
Well, from what I hear, they're not doing that well. So
No, they're not doing well at all. I mean, cornhole's a great sport, but I saw it on ESPN like 6 one of these days, and I was just like,
oh man.
I'm like, give me baseball. Where are the Orioles? Where are the Padres? Give me the Blue Jays. Give me something.
Give me anything. Yes.
Give me anything.
Cat people.
Give me Curse of the Cat People. Give me Light Sleeper. Give me. I can't think of any of those other movies. Those Val Lewton movies though are great, and he did such like Cat People, Seventh Victim, I Walked with a Zombie. If that's one you guys have never seen, that's one I would highly recommend.
That's good.
You ever see I Walked with a Zombie, Marilyn?
I don't think so.
Well, that's one we may have to visit someday in the future when I come back from myself.
Zombies, so yeah.
It's not like it's not a Dawn of the Dead. It's not a Night of the Living Dead. It's like the original take on zombies, right, James? Sort of like these voodoo
stuff, yeah.
It's the voodoo stuff, and it was done very, very well, basically by the same cast and crew of Cat People. I think DeWitt Bodine wrote it, Jacques Tourneur directed it, Lewton produced it. Tom Conway is the male lead in it, but he plays a different character, so he's not as scummy. This is when he was starting to play damaged goods character, a character with damaged goods. So I would highly recommend I Walked with a Zombie.
Yeah, that's good. That's definitely good. I went through a multi-year zombie phase, and at first I was a little disappointed because it wasn't the kind of zombies that I had become accustomed to, but I quickly got over that and really enjoyed it.
What are your favorite zombies, James? Running or the Romero?
I would say my all-time favorite zombies are the talking ones because they're the funniest.
Oh, like Return of the Living Dead?
Return of the Living Dead, yeah.
Yeah.
So those are definitely the funniest zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they made a couple too many Return of the Living Deads, but the first 2 are great.
The first 2 were really great, yeah.
Third one, whatever. But the talking zombies are good.
Yeah.
Or what was it in Day of the Dead? They had a talking zombie, Bob or Bill or something like that, where
right.
He was like this half dead guy anyway, but he he was just sort of like,
yeah.
There was a humorous aspect to the talking zombies. I'll always be a fan of the voodoo zombies or the George Romero Night of the Living Dead zombie.
Sure.
Can't go wrong with that. It's the original.
Yeah.
What about you, Marilyn?
Well, if I meet zombies, I want them to be very slow. And,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I'll try not
Yeah.
to fall down 100 times when I'm getting away from them. But the one, oh man, when they run fast, I'm like, I'm dead. I'm just gonna be dead. They're
Yeah.
gonna hit me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
28
Yep.
Days Later and Dawn of the Dead, when they brought that to the forefront, I was like,
Oh yeah.
oh, this
Yeah.
is going to scare the crap out of people.
Right.
They kind of did that with the Mummy, the modern Mummy movies too, with Brendan Fraser, where they took the old-fashioned, slow lumbering mummy,
Emotep, yeah. And
which doesn't scare anybody, and they made him fast and athletic, and they could jump around, and
Yeah.
they were much scarier
Crawl
that
up
way.
walls and all that kind of stuff.
Right, right.
did the
Yeah.
Kate skulls with still their Egyptian
Yeah.
headpieces and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, love those movies.
Yeah. Me
Love
too.
those movies. Even Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, for all its fault, was okay. The Tom Cruise movie,
Yeah,
Hmm.
not so much.
No, I remember when I heard he was doing the Mummy, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
Okay, and then like I see this scene they're doing like the zero gravity thing. I'm like, what is this? Is this Mission Impossible? It's not a knock on Tom Cruise, but I'm like, I love Tom Cruise, but I'm like, he's not. No,
didn't work for me.
didn't work for me at all.
Mm-mm.
No,
God bless him. God knows I'll be there when Mission Impossible 7 comes out.
no, and that second Mummy movie where they had the flashback scene with Rachel Weisz and
Yeah. The other woman, I always forget her name.
I forget her name. Patricia Velasquez, I think.
Yes, she's in the first movie for like 8 seconds.
Right, but when the two women are dueling in the
Yeah, yeah.
flashback scene, oh, that's a fantastic scene.
It is.
Fantastic scene. And the great part about it is Steven Summers, who directed that, he really does pay homage to the Universal classics from Bela Lugosi all the way really till
Right.
the end of House of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I loved Van Helsing. I thought Van Helsing was just a hell of a ride.
Okay, that's where we part company.
We're part of what it was a fun ride for a 17-year-old mind. It's been years since I've watched it. If I was asked to watch it, I'd watch it. But I just remember that there were some scenes in Van Helsing that really got me, like the silhouettes of him in the fog and all that, and maybe not the story and the CGI werewolf and the
Yeah, I
CGI
don't like the
Frankenstein.
CGI stuff, but yeah.
I hate CGI, but like Dracula should never be CGI. And
No.
this whole have you seen the trailer for The Last Voyage of the Demeter? They're doing that lost chapter of Dracula.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I saw it in the theater.
Yeah, I see this like giant bat Dracula thing, and I'm just like, I get it, but I'm still waiting for someone to. And I never saw Renfield, and I might, but I need to see Nick Cage or someone, do the Bela Lugosi, but the hands and the eyes and the face,
Right. Did you ever see
come to me.
Ed Wood? Did you see Ed Wood?
Love Ed Wood. I love that movie
Yes.
because it really,
Yes.
it's the scene where all right, let's shoot this bleep, and then I couldn't. It's Martin Landau as Bela Lugosi. Have you seen it, Marilyn?
Awesome.
Ed Wood. I know. A
Ed
long
Wood.
time ago I have, yes.
Martin Landau was incredible in that.
Oh, Martin Landau was he was the scene stealer in that movie,
Yeah,
and he was recognized because he took home the Best Supporting Actor from the
That's
Academy Awards. But just his scenes as Bela Lugosi, I turned down Frankenstein after I did Dracula. The studio offered me Frankenstein, turned it down. Too degrading for a big star like me. And then would be Johnny Depp be like, Bella, I've got 25 scenes I got to shoot tonight. Oh, sorry, don't slow me down. All right, so what do I do? Then the motor is gone on the octopus, so he's got to go into the freezing water, and he's
Yes.
and like Burton leaves the camera running for like 20 seconds, so he's just in this cold. He really does steal the show. Martin Landau. I don't want to say that was his best performance, but it's up there.
If that wasn't his best, it was right there. Yeah, I agree.
It's right there. Martin Landau as Bela Lugosi is a total scene stealer in Ed Wood.
Yes, and you were either consciously or unconsciously mimicking him, because you remember he was saying, the secret to Dracula, it's all in the hands.
Hands and the eyes. Oh, the scene where the guy asks him for the autograph. They show him sitting there getting ready. It's like one of the guys on sets. He comes up to him. He's just like, "Mr. Lugosi, could I have your autograph, please?" And he's like, "Certainly." He takes the guy's notebook and he goes, "Do you know which I love?" It was a movie he did with Karloff, and he was just sort of like, "Karloff, sidekick," and then he goes on this vulgar rated tirade to the young man, and then he goes, and then Bella. If you notice, an extra has to have Ed Wood go break it up, the verbal tirade, and what happened? He goes, "How dare that asshole bring up Karloff?" And he goes, "Hey, Bella, Dracula, there's a role that requires talent. Of course, it's all about the eyes and the voice and the hands." "You seem jazzed up. Do you need an extra second?" "Bullshit. I'm ready now. Roll the camera." And he immediately goes into the Bella mode. I would highly recommend that movie, Marilyn. Ed Wood, directed by Tim Burton and Johnny Depp.
It's been a long time.
It captured Lugosi's frailties and his troubles, but even in his later years, when he was addicted to drugs and his health was failing, and yet he had this amazing innate nobility about him, which I thought Martin Landau captured beautifully.
I was in Cape Cod for my vacation recently, and we went into a used bookstore. It's called Tim's Used Bookstore. It's in Provincetown. We're down there, and it's a very small bookstore, but it's got everything. So I immediately, I'm looking around. I see James Patterson, Stephen King. I go to their little section of films, and it's like Japanese movies, 1950 to 1951. There's all these other things. And all of a sudden, below a stack of 7 books, I see this big black book. I literally do the classic, you hold them up and pull it out. And I pulled it out, and it was the complete films of Bela Lugosi.
Wow.
So I open it up, and it's everything from Dracula to the film serials, SOS Coast Guard, everything. This thing was $6, and I was just like, I am so buying this. And James, as a matter of fact, the night after we met and did our first show, after we parted ways, and I went and sat on the couch, that's the book I pulled out, and it's not a big coffee table book. I don't have it in the room with me right now, but I was just sort of amazed. And you were right. You can tell even in his studio shots, there was this nobility to him, that he took every role seriously, no matter how big it was. It could have been Dracula or all the countless Dracula knockoffs he did, until he finally came full circle with Universal, with bringing him back in Abbott and Costello. Granted, that movie is, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But he took everything seriously.
Yeah, he really did.
I love Bela Lugosi.
Yeah.
Can never go wrong with Bela. It's just a shame Plan 9 is sort of his last performance. When you think of great theatrical leads in the last 100 years, they kind of have that last performance as hopefully a good one, or just as good as their originals, or how you remember them. It's just a shame him walking around in some guy's backyard with a Dracula cloak going like this.
Yeah.
Is it? But hey, you can't script life.
No, you can't.
Can't script life.
No, but I wish you could have a soundtrack to it.
Yeah, I would love to
have a soundtrack to your everyday.
It'd be pretty cool. I mean, I think people try to do that when you see them walking around with the earbuds on. They're trying to create their life soundtrack. But it's if my life was a movie, I would definitely want a little Tom Schultz playing in the background. Maybe a little bit of Sting in there, to help out.
Yeah.
And, there's some days I would want, The Call or someone. Definitely not the Smiths, because I've never been that big of a whiner. But definitely something. Definitely something. What would you have for your soundtrack, Marilyn, if you had a soundtrack?
Probably a lot of new stuff. I mean, I love Chili Peppers aren't new, but they're producing new stuff, and Imagine Dragons, and I've always loved Better Than Ezra from the 90s. And I like new music. I that's, I've been there and done that with the other stuff. And so I've just I listen to alternative rock and hard rock and just about pop rock. If it rocks, I like it.
You're looking forward. You're not in the rear
Forward.
view.
Yeah.
You're not in the rear view mirror with your music.
No. My husband loves a lot of the older stuff, and he'll play it when we're driving around. I'm like, oh.
Oh, I know that look. Chelsea's a big country girl. I am all over the place with rock and roll and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes there's a couple of car rides where we're both sort of like, but we both have grown to appreciate each other's loves and tastes.
Yeah,
That's
it's
good.
and when I give him that look, he'll change the channel every once in a while on Sirius or whatever. We'll bop around between my stuff and his stuff. So
Prime country. Now it's either 2K hits for her, or I got rid of Sirius just because they were charging me like $21 a month.
yeah.
I was just like, you know what? I don't need you anymore. I'm good. What about you, James? If you had a soundtrack, you're a musician. You know what it's like. Your soundtrack's gonna be like.
Well, I would say, like Marilyn, I do like to keep abreast of new things. I'm always seeking out new things. There's a couple of roadblocks for me for a lot of new music. One, I hate auto-tuned vocals, and there's a lot of that now, a lot.
Yeah.
And two, I prefer it when a band plays their own instruments.
Yeah, that's nice.
Instead of, a lot of pop music now is created from taking, little bits and pieces, or a little sample here and a sample there, and then a producer puts it all together in the studio, but nobody's actually playing any instruments.
Yeah.
So I don't appreciate that so much. So that those two things exclude a lot of modern pop music for me. You mentioned country music. To my ear, a lot of what passes for mainstream country right now is what used to be country flavored rock back in the 70s and 80s. A lot of it, with the advent of hip hop and rap music taking over the charts, a lot of what used to be pop rock is now pop country.
Yes.
I kind of like little bits of all of it, but my sweet spot musically is probably, I would say 1967 to 1985. There's a lot in that time period that I really appreciate, but I'm not exclusive to that.
No, you're not snobby, but if you had that's like the James Pasco soundtrack.
Yeah.
It would be like your greatest hits volume 1, 67 to 85.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I like that. See, for me, it's a lot of like, I'll take a song like "What's Your Name" by Boston, as I mentioned pregame, or God, I'm drawing a blank right now. Like Sammy Hagar's or "Your Love Is Driving," something like random odds and ends would sort of be my soundtrack. Benny Mardones, "Into the Night." There'd be a lot of just obscure, cool sounding sound from all eras. The Byrds, "Turn, Turn, Turn," or son of a gun. Why am I drawing a blank? "Love of My Life," I think is the name of the song. Just a lot of random odds and ends, as I said.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it just depends on my mood too. If I'm in a certain mood, I might listen to Bonnie Raitt. If I'm in a different mood, I might listen to AC/DC. It goes all over the place for me.
Time and day and the position of the sun and mood, and how the stars are.
Yep.
I have found that to be the key. Listen, I love talking to both of you. I would love to talk to you again when I come back from my self-imposed exile. That's where Bad for Your Health is going for. And I would hope to talk to you guys again soon about anything. Before we part ways, Marilyn, what's coming up for you? What do you got? How did auditions, things like that? What's going down?
Oh, I've have an audition tonight that I need to do.
Really?
Yeah. It's a feature film filming in South Carolina. We'll see. So I'm going to do that tonight. I've had several. I haven't heard back. But I do have a short film that I'm doing a small part in, and it's called Closed Coffin.
Closed
Right.
coffin.
Yeah, which is right up my alley. And I get to play a nun. Which is perfect. Sorry to make you choke. Or
No, it's
whatever.
all right. My cold, my allergies, whatever. This is
Yeah.
the tail end of it.
Yeah.
Closed
Yep.
coffin. When can we expect that to drop?
And there we go. Closed coffin, and I play a nun. So I'm cool.
Nice. James, what do you got coming up?
Well, good luck, Marilyn. Hope you
Thank
get the
you.
gig.
Yes.
I would say the next thing of particular interest is I have a commission opportunity through an online group called 4C Comics. They're putting out an opportunity for people to sign me up to do private commissions of predominantly comic book characters, although sometimes I get asked to draw movie characters or.
You've done that before for them, haven't you? I think that's how.
Well,
Yeah.
lately I've been doing more for some other people, but the one coming up on June 27th is for 4C Comics.
Will that be streaming on YouTube and Facebook or anything like that? Because I can share it on the Bad for Your Health page if.
Oh, thanks.
You'd like.
It probably will, because it's a live sketch show, so people will tune in and watch me draw and request that I do, some drawings, and I may start the drawing, while we're online, and they could see me drawing, and then I'll finish it after we go off air.
Cool.
So that's
I like that.
Yeah, it's fun to reach out and meet people that way.
Nice. I still have to contact you and tell you I have a commission I would like you to do. It's I gotta put my ducks in a row first and then pull the trigger. But it would be based off of a character that we talked about in this episode very briefly.
Very briefly. Okay, now you got me interested.
It would be actually Tom Conway as the Falcon.
Oh, cool.
Just something different, the pencil thin mustache, the trench coat.
Yeah.
That 40s tough guy, not tough guy, that 40s detective heart look.
Well, like Jimmy Buffett saying, I wish I had a pencil thin mustache and I could solve some mysteries too.
There you go.
I tried it one time and I think I had it for about 28 seconds.
Yeah.
It's one of those like, how do I look? I get like the not death stare, but I get like silence and that quiet judgment.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be back.
Unless you're Errol Flynn or something, you just can't pull that off. Nobody can.
He was the master of it. Like I see him in those old movies. Like he was the master of the pencil thin mustache.
He was.
There have been good ones, but he was the master.
Yeah.
The OG, as the kids say it. Well, Marilyn, I wish you luck in the audition. James, I cannot wait to see the 4C. 4C, is that what it's called? Like the number 4 and the letter C.
4 and then the letter C. 4C Comics.
4C Comics coming up June 27th. That's
June 27th.
That's a Sunday, right? Yeah. No.
Let's see. It's the 11th now.
So Wednesday.
So a couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks. I'll definitely share that on the Bad for Your Health page. I'm sure they'll be cool with it. In closing of this episode, as I've said in a previous post, I'm going to go on a exile for a while, and we're going to come back in July with some new content. And it's going to be good content. It's all been good, but I definitely want to take a step back from doing all this just because I really don't have the time for the weekly grind of trying to come up with new stuff. As you said, James, it was right around the time we spoke, James, you said something to me that stuck with me. When it starts to get in a feel like a rut, you got to change it up.
Yep. Every time.
And it was I just was like, I had been thinking about it for a while about taking a step back, and I've said my piece on a lot of things, but we'll be back in July, and hopefully you two will come back for another film analysis or just an overall discussion about anything. I've enjoyed it, so I'm going to take a few weeks off. And don't forget to check out Still Dead Illustrations. Don't forget to check out Marilyn Knapp's film rolls, and check out James on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, for his keen artwork. As I said, this man had the quintessential run on a character called Azrael in the 90s, and I love it still to this day. For James Pascoe and Marilyn Knapp, I am Tom. Have a good night, everyone, and we'll see you in a few weeks. Good night, everybody.
Hi, everybody.